Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater. Out to short. And it's good! Off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, two-run shot to right.
Welcome to Washington Township. This is where we started our Tri-County season, and this is where our Tri-County regular season comes to a close. We've got a battle between the two division winners, already determined to be the top two seeds. However, both of these teams still have to play it out for pride's sake. It's the South Jersey Grizzlies and the Washington Township Senators. We are off to a lightning-fast start here at 6:10 p.m. Not wasting any time, we'll flip it over to the main board as Eric Cartafalsa is the starter for the Senators. And his first pitch is a breaking ball with a strike called, 0-1. Ricky Templeton leads us off for the Grizzlies this evening here from Washington Township. Templeton, fly ball straight away left field. Going in, sliding, it hits off of his cap, off the bill of his hat in left field, and it'll drop for a base hit. So Templeton has a single to lead us off here on this Thursday evening. Ryan Nace is the batter. Let's take a gander at the South Jersey Grizzlies starting lineup presented to you by Harper Driving School. A couple of PVI alums in the lineup tonight, of course led by PVI assistant baseball coach Nick Gruber. Again, Ricky Templeton at first base. Ryan Nace is at third. A.J. Palumbo is the pitcher. Keegan Spraggins, formerly of Triton, is the shortstop batting cleanup. Nick Nigro, another former PVI catcher, bats fifth. Hunter Cohen in left field. Joey Facchetti in right. Johnny Gardner batting eighth in center. And Chase Walsh, another Triton alum, batting ninth and playing second base. Another curveball from Cartafalsa is a strike. And it's a quick 0-2 count here with a runner on first. From the edge of the rubber, Templeton leading off of first. 0-2 fastball fouled back. It is a scorcher tonight here from Washington Township. 92 degrees at first pitch. Real feel of 97. There is a little bit of wind helping us out in an assortment of different directions, but not enough to make it any more bearable. Cartafalsa ready to go. Just missed downstairs. Cartafalsa, the right-hander, has appeared in 5 games this season. He's got a 3-0 record, which is fitting considering that the Senators only have one loss this year. He's got 17 innings, 31 Ks, a 0.41 ERA, 0.71 whip, and a 1.21 on base against. So he's been holding these hitters very much accountable this season. Ground ball to second. They will try for the out, and they do get the lead runner. So Templeton is retired. Didn't think they would get the out at second, but Templeton wasn't exactly on his horse that time, and he ends up getting called out at second. So here's A.J. Palumbo. Not only is he the leading home run scorer or home run hitter for Tri-County this season with 4 long balls, he also has the distinction of starting the last regular season game for the Grizzlies this evening. Palumbo out of CCBC, Catonsville, one of the community college branches in Baltimore County. He's got 4 homers this year, 472 average. Misses on the breaking ball early that time, 0-1. He's got 17 hits and 36 ABs. And a grand total of 13 extra base hits, 8 doubles, 1 triple, and 4 homers. With a very impressive OPS of 1.661. Not to mention commanding a 2.5 ERA on the mound this season for the Grizzlies. And he laces that one foul and into the batting cages down the first base line. So it'll be Palumbo and then Keegan Spraggins. Zach Morales is a notable absence from the lineup tonight for the Grizzlies. However, again, the Grizzlies have already locked up the number 2 seed, and the Senators have already locked up the number 1 seed. It just happens to be that these two teams are going to be in the top of the playoff bracket come next week, and they'll secure a bye by winning the respective divisions. This game was actually originally scheduled for May 28th, the day after opening day, but then rain and everything pushed it back again and again and again, to the point where instead of being assigned for the beginning of the regular season, it gets assigned for the end of the regular season instead. Senators had a game scheduled for last night as well, where Joey Rafino was the scheduled starter, but it was postponed due to poor field conditions. And with that, it rained here in Washington Township, but nowhere else. Didn't rain in Pittman, didn't rain in Williamstown, didn't rain in Glassboro or Mullica Hill or any of the surrounding towns. We had some isolated thunderstorms, but nothing actually came of it, except for here, where it was enough to cancel the game and everything gets pushed back. And again, not everybody's going to have a full 18-game slate this year because of how wet and rainy the 2025 summer has been. Feels like every night there's been some sort of threat of rain. As Palumbo, after fighting off a couple of fastballs, wavers at one high and in. And Cartafalsa records his first strikeout of the night, 2 away. Now it's Keegan Spraggins. Spraggins earned Player of the Game honors in the second time that we covered the Grizzlies. Or actually the first time we covered the Grizzlies, back in, I believe it was early June, in an 8-0 shutout victory over the Gartons of Vineland, who play tonight in Vineland versus Camden. That game got moved to Landis Field instead of their old home at Vineland High School. Got a 1-0 count this time. DiPietro just giving a little positive reinforcement to the dugout, or from the dugout that time, to his pitcher Cartafalsa. So a single, a fielder's choice, and a strikeout. And now a ground ball. This should end the inning. Spraggins busts it out of the box, but the throw to first by Alex DiPietro is in time to retire the side. An easy first for Eric Cartafalsa, including a strikeout and only one single on the board. Senators will grab their bats for the first time right after this.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
A.J. Palumbo is the starter for the Grizzlies this afternoon. Again, the right-hander, the utility man out of the Baltimore County Community College in Catonsville, Maryland. He's got a 2.55 ERA. It's his sixth appearance of the year, 11 innings, 11 walks, and 15 Ks. One of the big concerns is 6 hit by pitches for Palumbo on the season, and along with 11 walks. He does have a 2.55 ERA, but a 1.73 whip is pretty high for somebody of his caliber. So we'll see how his fastball commands tonight, but control could be something that these players may have to look out for the Senators. We'll introduce the Senators starting lineup presented by Harper Driving School. For the Senators this evening, led by Coach John DiPietro, you've got Phil Sedalis at short, Rich Raccabaldo at first base batting second. Chris Smith is the center fielder, or check that. He is the third baseman batting third. Dylan Warburton is in right field. Then it's Rich Carfagno in center. Julian Gonzalez of Rutgers Camden is behind the plate. Rich Scarpa is the designated hitter. Trevor Sharkey in left, and Alex DiPietro, the second baseman, batting ninth. 0-1 from Palumbo is speared into the ground, and it's foul. The Senators with only one loss this campaign. As we said, both of these teams doing very well for themselves, but I think it's kind of evident how strong the South Division has been this year, that the division leaders in both, as there's a ringing base hit to right field off the bat of Phil Sedalis, the Rowan product, an everyday starter for Rowan these days. They made the Division III College World Series in Illinois this season. They were actually one of 2 NJAC schools to make the D3 World Series. Rutgers Camden also made it. Neither team advancing past the super regional stage. Palumbo, first pitch. Inside to the lefty, Raccabaldo. The Raccabaldo name carries so much weight here in Washington Township, especially with, well, first of all, I go to RCSJ, who's their center, Chris Raccabaldo. And he's, again, doing pretty well for himself as well with the Roadrunners men's basketball team. But either way, though, it's almost like the Millwards in Pittman, or in Audubon, the Flaccos. Everybody knows somebody from a generation with that last name. After a pickoff throw to first, that one skips in. Nigro catches it. 2-0 count to Raccabaldo. As we said, 92 degrees at first pitch. Senators dealing with a runner on first and nobody out after a leadoff knock by Sedalis. But like we were talking about, the Senators have an 8-point advantage on the Grizzlies. So that's how the Senators have already locked up the 1 seed, and the Grizzlies have already locked up the 2 seed, because the Senators are at 30.5 points. The Grizzlies are at 22.5. 9-5-2 for the Grizzlies versus 14-1-2 with 2 ties for the Senators. And actually, the closer race is in the north, because the CHBR club is 9-5-1. They're only 1 point back with 1 fewer game played. But CHP actually also has higher amount of points than everybody in the north. So the top 2 seeds in the south already have higher amounts of points than any team in the north. They're going to try to turn a double play. Palumbo's foot was off the bag. Good play down there at first, though, on a high bouncer up the first base line. It'll count as a 3-6 fielder's choice. And it will now bring up Chris Smith. Smith donning his Rutgers Camden helmet tonight. .219 average for the shortstop. 7 out of 32 hits, or 7 hits out of 32 at-bats. 4 RBIs, 1 double, 1 stolen base, and a .574 OPS for the number 3 hitter for the Senators. Palumbo from the stretch, breaking ball, catches the inside part of the plate. It's 0-1. So no score here in the bottom of the first for the viewers just joining us on a scorching Thursday night as we close out our Tri-County regular season coverage, as that one's fouled back. But again, the Senators, this has been just such an interesting season, because this is our 3rd full year and not it's our second full season covering Tri-County, because we joined late in 2023. If you remember, Vince, your first game and our first game with Tri-County was July 5th, 2023, Gardens of Vineland versus Cherry Hill Pittman. Now that Cherry Hill Pittman ended up making the finals, but we've been a little bit starved for choice in the last 2 years because it's been the Rough Riders over CHP, Cherry Hill Pittman, in both seasons. Oh, that one, they're going to have a throw down to second base. It's high, and an odd ricochet results in a base advanced for Township, as that ball skipped off of Nigro, and it hit Chris Smith right around belt high. And on the ricochet, Nigro got it. The throw was a little bit high to second, but in that situation, again, it was entirely accidental, so it's not like he tried to intentionally play the carom. That's just how it happened. Here's the pitch. That one's outside. That skips off of Nigro again. It's going to hit off of the back wall that separates the first base dugout. And now Sedalis is at third. Or check that, Racabaldo is at third. So again, Sedalis got a single. Racabaldo grounded into a 3-6 fielder's choice. And now Smith bats with a runner on third as Washington Township looks to break open their first score of the evening. If you remember, we were here again for the first game of the regular season for Tri-County versus the Pine Barrens, a game that was called to darkness in late May, but saw the Senators take an 11-3 win over the Phantoms. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball. Out to second. They will throw to first, and scoring easily is Rich Racabaldo. And the Senators lead at 1-0. That's what you call fundamental baseball right there. You don't get much better than that. Just a little slow roller. Not too much to it. And with the grass being a little bit taller in the infield, you're not going to see a lot of sharp grounders or sharp rollers just because the grass is going to have too much friction. However, Dylan Warburton is the batter. And he's got an 0-1 count against him now. Does count as an RBI, though, for Chris Smith. Warburton, a .230 hitter, 6 for 25, 1-1. 7 walks to his credit this year and a .704 OPS. One skips away, 2-1. This is one of 4 games being played tonight throughout the Tri-County slate. Again, Camden is playing Gardens of Vineland at their secondary location, Landis Park, just a couple of minutes removed from Vineland High School. And then Rough Riders are playing the Burlington Township Pirates at Ed Vierick Field. And then the Blackwood Bears play the Pine Barrens Phantoms at Patty Boker Field. It's 1-2 now. Check that, 2-2. So Blackwood and then Pine Barrens, that starts at 7:30 tonight. Which is kind of convenient that this is the only 6 o'clock game, because now some teams can check in on some progress while they prepare to play their own opponents, with everybody making the playoffs as always. And then 3 games are scheduled for tomorrow to close out the regular season. Cinnaminson plays the Grizzlies at Runnymede Babe Ruth. That one is low. That'll be a free pass to Warburton. And the batter will now be Carfagno. So 1-0 Senators, 2 outs in the bottom of the first. And the other 2 games scheduled for tomorrow are both makeup games. Burlington Township at Blackwood, but that is listed at Burlington Township's home field, which is at Vierick. That's a makeup from June 30th. And then Rough Riders at CHP normally would be a very exciting matchup, because that is a rematch of the last 2 Carter Cups. However, with pretty much everybody being decided at this point besides the lower seeds, that's where you get the conundrum. And that is a makeup from July 16th, which was Wednesday. Only 2 games were played on Wednesday. Washington Township beat CHBR to clinch the South Division. And then Cinnaminson Blackwood beat Cinnaminson last night for their third win of the year. And with that win, Blackwood actually surpassed the Gartons of Vineland for fourth place in the South. Warburton on first. Rich Carfagno at the plate. There's a strike. Robert Carfagno out of Indiana University of Pennsylvania. 500 average, 1.143 OPS. 5 for 10, though, on the season. So, a little bit of a lower sample size, but he does have a home run and 4 stolen bases, along with, 4 walks with 5 stolen bases. Runner goes. Check swing. They say the batter went. Runner does get down to second. Bit of a convoluted play there as that ball skipped across the dirt like a rock on a nice lake. And it ends up reaching second base, but not before Warburton gets in there safely. Gonzalez and then Scarpa, Sharkey and DiPietro for the Senators if the inning continues. Already 1 run across on an RBI ground out. They'll fire it back to second. Warburton goes back in standing. Kind of an odd play there, but again, Palumbo is a very reactive player on the mound. He's somebody that always keeps his head on a swivel, and he's not going to allow a big lead to really commence. As Spraggins does back off, but it's a swing and a miss to retire the side. Palumbo picks up a strikeout and allows 1 run on a ground out off the bat of Chris Smith. We're through 1 in Washington Township / Sewell as the Senators lead the Grizzlies 1-0. Welcome back from Washington Township High School. Behind us, and what you're seeing on your screen right now, is the famous Tom Brown Field, home of the Washington Township Minutemen, where we will be covering our second Thursday night football special of the year. Tune in on Thursday, September 4th, for a WJFL matchup between the Pennsauken Indians and the Washington Township Minutemen, 6 p.m. on Thursday, September 4th. A good way to kick in the fall just after Labor Day weekend. You can check our Instagram and Twitter pages for our full football schedule, which kicks off with a 5-game opening weekend from August 28th to 30th, including doubleheaders on Thursday and Friday night. We open our season with Cherry Hill West at Haddon Heights at 11 a.m. on August 28th, and then we close out that Thursday night with a matchup down on the 322 corridor between the Cumberland Colts and the Clearview Pioneers. Our Friday doubleheader sees us travel up to Collingswood High School on Friday morning for a matchup from last year, a rematch from last year between the Clayton Clippers and the Collingswood Panthers. And then we travel all the way down to Atlantic County, down the Jersey Shore, for Friday Night Lights for the first time this year between the Absegami Braves and the Egg Harbor Township Eagles on Friday, August 29th. We close out that opening weekend with a standalone Saturday afternoon game at noon down in Salem County between the Paulsboro Red Raiders and the Pennsgrove Red Devils. Again, you can find our full football schedule on our Instagram and Twitter pages at DW Broadcasting. 3-1 count to Nigro to start the top of the second inning. from Cartafalsa. Misses outside, and the Widener product picks up a free pass to lead off the second here. I like batters that are patient, especially to start an inning like this where you're down 1-0. The last thing that you want to do is be overreactive and try swinging at everything you can, trying to blast a ball over the fence. The reality is the wind is kind of all over the place tonight. There was points where it was blowing straight in. There's now points where it seems like it's blowing straight out. The prospect of, game-tying home runs seems great, but in the top of the second in a game that doesn't have a lot of stakes at the line, it's better to stay patient and work your way on base in a more traditional way. And that's exactly what Nick Nigro did. He didn't try to do too much, didn't really swing at anything. He didn't find anything that he wanted, and 5 pitches later, he's on first base. As a catcher as well, very important to practice plate discipline. Swinging looked like a foul tip that time. Off the bat of Hunter Cohen. Got a 1-2 count. Popped up, headed towards Tom Brown Field, and it lands on the track. Just beyond us here. I felt bad for the umpires when they got here because everybody who goes to a Washington Township baseball game, they always park in the Acme parking lot because it's much easier to get in that way. There's actually a specialized entrance for that, as there's strike 3 called. No disagreement from the batter, and there's one away. So Cohen goes down, and Fichetti will take his place at the dish with one away. But the umpires, I think they parked where the GPS told them to. They might not have been here before, and they walked all the way across the football field. They were on time, don't get me wrong. I always love an umpire that's on time, but especially with how bad the traffic was, especially for you, Vince, getting here tonight. No one's fouled down the left field line. Listen, it's summer season. It's Thursday night. People are going to take off work Friday and have a 3-day weekend down the shore. It's going to happen. I still haven't made a trip to the shore this year. I might have to have a spontaneous shore trip, go down to Wildwood or Ocean City. Wildwood is my preferred shore town of choice. I certainly could use a shore trip with this weather. This reminds me a lot of when I was in St. Louis a couple of weeks ago. We had a little baseball trip going to St. Louis and Kansas City. Kaylee Cortez actually asked us about it on Monday when we were interviewed by the Tri-County internship crew. Skips in, an offering from Fichetti, but he holds back. Still Nigro holding it first. But either way, that Midwestern heat is so oppressive. I mean, this morning was maybe only 85 degrees, but the humidity was 70%. So when it's hot and it's humid, just makes for a bad condition. That one's outside. And this, again, it reminds me a lot of the oppressive humidity in St. Louis. Because at least when you have a shoreline, sometimes those shore breezes make it a little bit cooler. There's nothing. There is nothing around that way. Here's the pitch from Cartafalsa, swing and a miss by Fichetti. Got a full count this time. Nigro on first, one away. Strikeout to Cohen was the first out of the frame. Really is a beautiful complex here in Washington Township. Been here for pretty much every sport. The basketball gym is located beyond us in center field as Fichetti goes down on strikes. It's the third strikeout for Cartafalsa, and there's 2 away. Batter is now Johnny Gardner in center field. They're going to have a substitute runner at first, and it looks like it will be Fichetti, the last batted out. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Cartafalsa. And he's having a little conversation with the second base umpire. Not sure. I don't think they're discussing weekend plans, but First pitch to the center fielder, Gardner. Chase Walsh, the Triton product, is on deck. He plays second base today. He's had a couple of putouts already. Strike one. Misses, 1-1. Two and one that time. Misses again on the fastball, 3-1. You can see just beyond us in right center field is the Republic Bank Performing Arts Center. It's very interesting that there's a theater with a corporate sponsor attached on a high school campus, but it's a 2,500 seat theater that opened in the 1960s. And a swing and a miss by Carter Falsa ends the inning and ends the story. We go to the bottom of the second inning. We've got a 1-0 lead in favor of the red and blue. Senators up 1-0.
Ryan Nutley, who has 3 RBIs so far, is up on deck as here's a fly ball at the center field, going back to the wall. It is gone! 3-run home run, Steve Schaefer. He rockets one out, and it's 9-2. First home run for Schaefer this year, the second hit at home by a Scarlet Raptor.
Senators up 1-0 after an inning and a half. First batter of the bottom of the second will be Julian Gonzalez. Gonzalez, Scarpa, and Sharkey. 6, 7, and 8. Strike called. Time is called. Gonzalez, the switch hitter from Rutgers Camden. One of 2 catchers from Rutgers Camden that's featured on the Tri-County slate. Evan Carbone has been a Rough Riders product for a couple of years now. Well, they just added on another catcher out of the incoming class of 2029 from my alma mater, Audubon, as Trent Bannell will be headed there. He's one of 3 Audubon alums from the same class that are headed to Rutgers Camden. It's Nick Calandros and Gabe McCracken, 2 pitchers, and Trent Bannell, a catcher/outfielder, a little bit of a utility man. Played a lot of positions in high school. It's the second strikeout for Palumbo. The batter is Mark Scarpa. I'm calling everybody Rich today. Maybe that's a manifestation. They're going to get a good 401k or something like that. I don't know. Scarpa, 188 batter. That one's lined into left field. That will drop for a base hit. The dugout responds accordingly, and it's a base hit here with one away for Mark Scarpa, as Trevor Sharkey will be the batter. It's not a lot of people named Rich today. I mean, Richard is still a very popular name, but it's taken on some different forms. Like, if you're a kid named Richard now, you're probably going by Rick or Ricky, just like Ricky Templeton, the leadoff batter for the Grizzlies. Although it's a good origin, you know. We think about how our surnames mostly come from, or impartially come from, what you did for work, what you did for a job. That one's fouled back by Sharkey. If your last name was Shoemaker, it's a good chance that an ancestor of yours was a shoemaker. That's fouled back. Mostly because surnames were mostly reserved for royalty. But then as more people started appearing on the earth, you needed a different way to distinguish them. Even middle names weren't all that popular until about 300, 400 years ago. Back when the life expectancy was about maybe 30 years old. And again, it was created out of a need to differentiate people from different places. So Scarpa with a base hit to left field. Sharkey is the batter, one away in the second. Gonzalez struck out looking to start the frame. Palumbo ready, and the pitch. Outside. 2-2 is the count. Yeah, very excited to come back to Washington Township for some football this year. Always excited for football this time of year. Everybody in the DWB community comes out of the woodworks for football. Maybe a little bit for baseball as well. We'll be covering some more baseball this weekend. On Sunday, July 20th, we've got the South Jersey NABA Men's League, the wild card round between the South Jersey Diamondbacks and the South Jersey Lightning from Haddon Heights at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Wasn't my choice to make it 9 a.m., but that's how it is. It's a free pass to Sharkey. Alex DiPietro, the second baseman, is the batter. But yeah, like we were saying, it depended on your job. If your last name was Shoemaker, it probably meant that your ancestor was a shoemaker or baker or anything like that. Depended on what your ancestors did. It gets translated from different languages, generation over generation. Two on, one away, bottom of the second inning. 1-0 Washington Township. They lead over the Grizzlies here. And a swing and a miss that time by DiPietro. Again, Washington Township has bookended our regular season. We saw the first regular season game for our Tri-County slate this year versus the Pine Barrens back on June 3rd, I believe, where they beat the Pine Barrens Phantoms 11-3. That one's high. Sedalis, the shortstop, is on deck. Palumbo looks back. Shortstop Spraggins moves over. And a swing and a foul tip. He will stay alive in the at-bat. Don't forget, tomorrow, Friday, July 18th, we travel up to Bridge Street in West Hampton for the Breakthrough Soccer Showcase, hosted by Justin Faust, the head coach of Northern Burlington boys soccer. 16 teams from around South and Central Jersey, representing 6 counties, will all battle for the title, with coverage starting at 3:30 p.m. tomorrow and going deep into the night, with the championship game scheduled to start at 10:45 p.m. It's going to be a fun day for all involved, and we're going to have a good one nonetheless. So we're going to have at least, I think, 15 games covered, 30-minute games with one half each. That one is low. And again, this is what we talked about with Palumbo. When he gets into a little bit of a rut, it can definitely be a little bit exponential. Talked about the fact that he's had 6 hit by pitches against him this season. Along with 11 walks. That is his 3rd walk of the inning. Or excuse me, his 3rd walk all told. It's his 14th walk of the season. And it's back-to-back. So 3 straight runners have reached, and the bases are loaded for Phil Sedalis. And again, Sedalis, a longtime infielder for Rowan University. And I believe also a graduate of Washington Township, if I recall correctly. But he's the utility man manning the 6th slot in the scorecard today and the leadoff spot in the batting order. 407 hitter, 11 for 27. 4 RBIs, though, out of the leadoff spot can definitely add on to that total here. Palumbo, first pitch. That one pops out of the glove of Nigro. The strike is called. I think he tried to squeeze a little bit too early that time. And it's 0-1. Scarpa on third. Sharkey, with his back turned to the field, is on second base. And then Alex DiPietro on first. Here's the 0-1. Upstairs at the letters to the 6'2" Sedalis. And it's 1-1. Finally starting to cool down a little bit with the sun going behind the clouds momentarily. Again, 92 degrees at first pitch. Real feel of 97 tonight at its worst. And again, there was a game supposed to be here last night, but it was postponed due to rain. And I was like, well, I didn't think it rained. I was in Pittman all last night. It didn't rain. There were maybe some isolated thunder, but I didn't see anything hit the ground. Apparently, it just hit this area specifically. Almost comically isolated. Pop up down the first base line and on top of the batting cages. It's foul. 2 strikes against Sedalis. We'll toss it back to Palumbo. And again, with the grass being a little bit taller this time of year at Washington Township, again, it's not a knock or anything, but around this time of year, again, school is out. So there's not people actively mowing the grass every day like they normally would when the Minutemen are using this field as their home turf. Outside, Nigro hangs onto it. Again, bases loaded for Washington Township. Looking for their 15th win of the season. Would be a final regular season record of 15-1-2, with this being their final regular season game of the year, as that one is fouled over our heads and out of play. Home plate umpire asks for 3 baseballs. But this field a little bit more pitcher-friendly than most in Tri-County. Certainly more pitcher-friendly than Landis Field, where Vineland is setting up shop tonight for a first pitch of 7 p.m. versus Camden. Breaking ball popped up again over our heads. Look out below, and it just hits off of the back of the bleachers. Vince, you know, where we were set up back in June, remember when we were here in June, we set up at the top row of the bleachers? That would have been right our way. I thought about setting up in the bleachers, but we didn't know if you were coming, Vince. 2-strike count, bases loaded to Sedalis. Swing and a miss, he got him. Phil Sedalis goes down on strikes. It is Palumbo's 4th of the night. And there's 2 away. Excuse me, 3rd strikeout of the night. However, his counterpart on the mound for the Senators, Carter Falsa, does have 4 Ks this evening. Strike called. Either way, though, that's a good tone setter for Palumbo that he's here to mean business. Had a long at bat. Sedalis fought it off, and he still passes the baton to Raccabaldo with another chance to extend the lead in the second. That one gets away. Speaking of, right on cue, here comes the runner. He dives in safely. Scarpa scores. He ran into Palumbo. He makes sure he's okay. And Mark Scarpa scores on a wild pitch as that one got past the catcher Nigro with a relatively deep backstop. Makes it 2-0. Raccabaldo grounded into a 3-6 fielder's choice. They tried to turn a double play, but couldn't get anything going. And Chris Smith, again the batter on deck, he could have an at-bat here in the bottom of the second inning if Raccabaldo gets on, but probably won't be without some RBIs at the dish. Palumbo ready. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss again by Raccabaldo. Haven't seen that before. Haven't seen somebody smack themselves in the head with the bat, but it's a 1-2 count. It's a wood bat, too. It's not like it's hollow inside. That's got to hurt. Tough as nails. Palumbo picks up the strikeout as he sends down Sedalis and Raccabaldo in order. We are through 2 here in Sewell as the Senators still lead 1-0. Top of the third here in Washington Township. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. Chase Walsh is the leadoff batter in the top of the third, the only man not to grab a bat so far for the Grizzlies. It's the ground ball out to second. Taken over to first by DiPietro, and a 4-3 ground out kicks off the third. Again, the plans for this weekend. Tomorrow we'll be in West Hampton all day. Luckily for you and me, Vince, a Wawa will be right around the corner. I think we were there once. We've been there twice. It's a nice little turf complex. We'll be on field 1 for all games, and it'll be starting at 3:30. Again, pool play ends at around 8:30 p.m. That one's lined foul down the left field line. But, yeah, it's right off of 295. Good stuff. We were there for a Life Center Academy game between the Hun School Raiders and the Life Center Warriors in 2023. And then we were there for the 2024 edition of the tournament as well. Jake Clark was with us that time with our coverage. Again, big thanks to Justin Faust for having us for the second straight year. It's a phenomenal showcase. That one's fouled back. Headed deep into the forestry of Washington Township. Although I wouldn't say it's that deep because there's somebody's backyard probably right back there. Templeton, and then Ryan Nace for the Grizzlies with one away in the top of the third, as he'll have to duck back for that one. 2-2 now. So again, we led off the top of the third with a slow rolling 4-3 ground out. At the bottom of the order for Triton's Chase Walsh. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball popped up over our heads again. Takes a thud into the grass and it's foul. Still 2 strikes here. Some folks filing in on this Thursday evening. We were curious if we were going to see Joey Rafino start today. He's had 2 no-hitters this season for the Senators and hasn't allowed a run in a month as the left-hander out of RCSJ Gloucester and also a Washington Township grad. But unfortunately, with the game being postponed yesterday, they had to call an audible for tonight's regular season closing game. And especially, you want to get Rafino ready for the playoffs. You've already locked up the number 1 seed. I don't think it's that necessary to start him. It's a fly ball to straightaway right center field. It's actually going to be shorter than we thought, and DiPietro brings it in. It looked like it was a little bit more solid off the bat. However, that's out number 2. Here's Nace, the third baseman. Again, with Nick Gruber being the head coach / field manager for the Grizzlies, you're going to see some PVI products. We've seen in our 3 games that we've covered with the Grizzlies in our Tri-County coverage that Sean Taylor has been somewhat prevalent in them. He was a former commit to Charleston Southern and then flipped his commitment to Southern New Hampshire. Which, by the way, I recently learned that Southern New Hampshire University has been a longtime host of shows for the band Fish, dating back to the mid-1990s. They do host in a couple of college arenas, like John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville. I actually went to the University of Virginia John Paul Jones Arena for a show in 2023. Strike is called on the outside corner to Nace. It's about a 6-hour drive to get down to Charlottesville. It's off of all the major highways. What's convenient about when you're doing a long road trip to like Disney World is that you're always on the major highway. In Charlottesville, you are not. And how about that? What an easy play for Carta Falsa. Was right into his hand, and it wasn't even hit all that hard. Nace floats out to the pitcher to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the third. It is 1-0 Washington Township. Bottom of the third, Chris Smith leads us off. John DiPietro's got a big smile as Smith comes to bat. They lead at 1-0. I'm sure both of these teams have a reason to smile today. They've got the top 2 seeds locked up. And the catcher shook the home plate umpire's hand. The reason why is because they made a change. They put in Joey Fichetti behind the dish. And I believe they have taken Nick Nigro out of the game. Or at least have moved him to a position that has been undetermined. But yeah, I was like, why is he shaking the umpire's hand now? And then I realized that it is not Nick Nigro behind the dish, but instead Joey Fichetti. That ball's crushed deep left field. This one's headed towards the clear monster, and it's over the head of the left fielder. This one will be a double for Smith. He'll stop there. And again, in a pitcher-friendly ballpark like this, might have been a long ball somewhere else, but instead, it'll be a double, a double for Smith. And now Warburton is the batter. Two balls, no strikes to Warburton. Outside again, Warburton still keeping the bat on his shoulders. It's 3-0. He walked in his first at-bat, so no surprise that given that he's seen Palumbo, and that Palumbo's already walked 3 batters today, it's not a surprise that they would want to keep him on his toes. And again, it's a little bit of a spiraling effect. He gets a strike down there that time, but if he walks Warburton, there's a good chance that one of the next 2 batters is going to get a free pass as well. I think his biggest issue is keeping that ball in the strike zone consistently, because once he walks one, it's a good chance one more is coming to him. That ball's hit well, deep to right field. It will stay in, and in fact, it's going to drop for a fair ball down the right field line. Stopping at third is Smith. Again, I must have misjudged that ball or something, or maybe the wind is doing more of a turmoil than we thought. But Warburton does get a base hit. It moves Smith to third, and now Robert Carfagno is the batter out of the 5 slot. This broadcast is brought to you by DAWG Pro Wrestling. The Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators are New Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events and nonstop entertainment throughout the Garden State. If you have a civic or charitable organization along with a school or any other special event that could require some high-flying action at the venue, book DAWG Pro Wrestling at your local event today. For more information on how to book DAWG Pro Wrestling, visit their website at dawgprowrestling.com. They've hosted events at Rowan University at the Rowan Burlington County campus, and in April hosted one at the Maine Glassboro campus in the brand new Chamberlain Student Center renovations. Smith started the tag. Whoa, that throw was airmailed to the second zip code, and Smith scores. Smith, I guess, deked the second baseman into throwing the ball his way. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's 2-0 Washington. So that will be a pop out to second base, and then Smith will score on an E4 because he just airmailed it. The second baseman, he airmailed it past third. I mean, that was way over the third baseman's head, Nace. But now Gonzalez is the batter. He struck out looking to kick off the second inning. Palumbo looks back. That one is high and in. But yeah, I mean, that was weird. It was a regular pop-up to second base. It was taken down, not much issue. And then next thing we know, we hear some oohs and ahs from the dugout, and that ball is sailing almost over the third base fence. So a costly mistake there for the Grizzlies. It's their first error of the game. And it's 2-0 Washington Township. Throw back to first. That has trouble. That will get the runner down to second. It hooks towards the batting cage, and Warburton will advance. So the second fielding error against the Grizzlies this inning. They now have 2, and they've all come in the span of 2 minutes or less. And now Gonzalez is batting with a runner in scoring position with Mark Scarpa on deck, who had a base hit. Later was left on third. So the score 3-0 Washington. They've scored 1 in every inning so far. They had an RBI ground out in the first, a wild pitch in the second. Now a throwing error brings home the third run. And now, again, you can see where this starts to unravel a little bit. 3-0 count from Palumbo to Gonzalez. Again, Palumbo, the JUCO product of CCBC Catonsville. And a very quick step off by Palumbo prior to delivering. Here's the pitch. 3-0 right down the pipe. 3-1 that time. That's a very important get back pitch. The one thing worse than walking somebody is walking somebody on 4 pitches, because no matter who you are, that often tanks a lot of pitchers' confidence. As that one is dribbled, we're going to have a rundown. Gonzalez is going to shoot for second, and Gonzalez gets all the way in, so now this runner is trapped. Warburton slides. He's out. Gonzalez is going back to first, but he already touched the bag. He already touched the bag at second. And, well, as Gene Segura did some years ago, he just stole first base. And Warburton is going back to first base because Gonzalez is going to get pinch run for. Talk about a scoring conundrum there. A pickle that retires Warburton. Unless I'm crazy, I thought Gonzalez touched the second base bag, and after that, you can't just go back. That one's high and away. They're going to throw back to first. Warburton is safe. I have only seen that in maybe one Major League Baseball game some 15 years ago. Otherwise, I have not seen a batter go backwards. I'll have to look at the replay again, because maybe he hovered over second base and then changed his mind and went back. But from what it looked like on the replay, it looked like he touched second base and then literally went backwards, which again is something that I've never seen before. What do they say? You always see something new in baseball every day. Counts 2-1 to Scarpa, so Palumbo picked up a putout, or at least he picked up an assist on that odd play. Scarpa fouls it back, look out. And that one just went through the field hockey goal at Tom Brown Field. There were some field hockey players that were practicing. I mean, that's got, again, it's like a skill shot. Think if he does it one more time, he gets multi-ball on the pinball machine. That's a swing and a miss. Scarpa goes down on strikes. No luck for that one, though, and the inning is over. We are through 3 in Washington Township. Township has scored 1 run in each of its first 3 frames. The Senators lead at 3-0.
Literally, they've been here twice, and they're about to score, or on the doorstep of scoring 50 for the second game in a row. Xavier Terry Brown. He is still on his feet. He's being shoved forward into the end zone. But who's got the ball? Look at Jason Solomon. The ball magically appeared in Woodbury's hands, and now they're back at the 50. This one's going back. This one's going to go to the distance. I don't see any flags. Did that just go for 100 yards? I think it did. I do not see any flags as Woodbury. Oh my goodness, Jason Solomon, have a day. He is the first man not named Taylor to score. Oh, man. Wow, that was good.
Here in Washington Township, it is 3-0 Senators. They add on a run on a throwing error as Carter Falsa faces A.J. Palumbo. Skies this one down the third base line. They've got a lot of foul ground to run. Oh, he made the catch! Chris Smith up against the fence. What a play, Chris Smith. Up against the heightened part of the foul ground. That's an 8-foot fence. He reached over it and made the catch. And Palumbo is retired. Now for Spraggins. For a foul ball, that was a great play. That was an excellent play that time. Strike called. They will say he went. 2 strikes against him now. Popped up. It's out of play. To Spraggins, grounds it over the middle, almost hit off the bag, and it goes into center field. Spraggins has a base hit. So Spraggins. Well, now I'm a little bit confused. They got Spraggins on first. Spraggins with his first hit of the day. It's Nick Nigro at the dish now. That one is fouled down the right field line. One's fouled back. Here's the pitch to Nigro. It's outside. So I did a little bit of extra reading, and what Julian Gonzalez did on second base actually was legal, and the umpires not calling it was the correct call. In the situation that Julian Gonzalez was in, because it was a live ball, he can return to first safely because the ball was still live. It doesn't matter. I mean, no matter which direction you're going in, you have to touch each base individually, obviously. Now, we've seen that before in the situation of, like, fly ball double plays, where, let's say, runner's on first, he leaves early for, like, a stolen base or whatever, ball gets hit to the outfield, outfielder calls it. Well, let's say the runner's in between second and third. Well, the runner has to go back to first base in order to be safe and in order to get back to the bag because he didn't tag up. Well, he would still have to touch second base to get there, and that is still a live ball. So it's a foul ball that time by Nigro. But, yeah, I thought I would do some reading on that, but that is Rule 8-5-2 in the Major League Baseball rulebook, and we have gotten confirmation before that in the situation of extremely niche rules that are not in bylaws, that you defer to Major League Baseball rules. We've had that happen before with the Gardens of Vineland, because Chris Williams, who also works in collegiate umpiring, pointed out a rule to the umpires that was not known to the crew at the time. Ground ball to second moves the runner Spraggins over, and Nigro was retired a 4-3 ground out. So yeah, I wanted to Google that and see if that was the correct call, and indeed it was. But that's a very niche rule that we don't see that often, where Gonzalez had stepped on second base and then went back to first after Warburton was retired on that convoluted rundown in the bottom of the third. So that's what I love about baseball, is that you always see something new every day. That one's in the dirt. Gonzalez he took off his mask. You could think he was poking at some dirt that kicked up. That is some pretty moist dirt after, again, some very isolated rain hit Washington Township / Sewell last night, right around first pitch, and the game was postponed, or canceled, I should say. We're a little bit too late into the regular season for postponements, but Nigro with a 4-3 ground out. Hunter Cohen is the batter. He's 0 for 1, struck out his first time as a part of striking out of the side that Carter Falsa did in the second inning. Here's the pitch. Fastball, swing and a miss. 2 balls, 1 strike. Yeah, the more and more that I'm standing in this weather, the more I need a beach day or a shore day. Funny enough, I've never been to Atlantic City. It is the most popular shore town in Jersey, and I have never been. Never been to LBI, never been to Asbury Park. My parents have been to Asbury Park for a wedding to the Stone Pony, but I have never been there. That's ball 4 to Hunter Cohen, and it looks like they're going to have a different batter. Is that Sean Taylor is the question? Or at least they had somebody different. It is Joey Fichetti warming up, or at least now taking the dish, but no, that is Johnny Gardner. I don't know why I thought differently, but it's the second walk that Carter Falsa has allowed tonight. And he now deals with 2 runners on in a 3-0 Senators game here in the top of the 4th inning. Two on, 1 out for Fichetti. Or check that, 2 outs for Fichetti. Gardner would be next if the inning continues for the Grizzlies. Big thing here is just getting on the board here in the 4th. That's a big swing and a miss. He went under a fastball that time. Runner jumps off a second. Carter Falsa pays no mind to it, and a strike is called. 2-strike count now to Cohen, or rather to Fichetti, who subbed in as the catcher for Nick Nigro, who I guess is now remaining in the game as an EH of sorts, unless he moved and we didn't see it. There's a swing and a miss. Carter Falsa strikes him out. That is his sixth of the evening. Strikes out Joey Facchetti to end the inning. As we go to the bottom of the fourth here in Washington Township, the Senators defending their home field very well, 3-0. Ryan Nace is the new pitcher here in the bottom of the fourth inning. As here in Washington Township, got a 3-0 Senators lead. They've scored 1 run in each of the first 3 innings. 1 on an RBI ground out in the bottom of the first. Got another one across on a wild pitch in the second, scoring Rich Scarpa. And then 1 on a throwing error in the bottom of the third. First pitch foul off the bat of Sharkey. This is Ryan Nace's first pitching appearance of the year as the right-hander from Immaculata University. We've covered Immaculata a couple times with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, most notably against Rutgers-Camden. Rutgers-Camden has opened up their non-conference schedule in late February of the last 2 seasons against Immaculata. We've got a 3-1 record in those last 2 years. They split the doubleheader last year, swept it this year. When skips away. So it'll be Sharkey and then DiPietro, and then we'll go back to the top of the order for the Senators. Again, 3-0 Washington Township. This game, as we disclosed, does not have any long-standing impacts. This is more, I would say this is more of a potential playoff preview, as was advertised on the Tri-County social medias when it was announced we were coming here tonight, that this could be a Carter Cup final in the making. at Alcyon Park. It will be nice to see these two teams here. Definitely will be interesting to see a little splash of parity. Not parody, parity, as there's a strike 3 called against Sharkey. Nace picks up his first strikeout. And probably this is the perfect time for the Grizzlies to make a change anyway, because Palumbo, I don't think his control was going to change any differently. So the best thing to do is, find somebody else and have them do the job, especially because the chance that we're getting in a full 7 innings today is probably unlikely. Again, even with this game starting at 6:10, this is one of 3 Tri-County venues that does not have lights. The other one, or the second of the 3, being the visitor Grizzlies. They play at Runnymede Babe Ruth. They don't have lights. CHBR Folk Field does not have lights, hence the 6:10 start times. Meanwhile, Patty Boker Field in Tabernacle sees a 7:30 start time for all home games. As much as we love the Pine Barrens Phantoms and as much as we love going to Patty Boker, there's no internet out there. I mean, we're lucky in South Jersey that we rarely experience connection issues with our venues. But if you have ever been out to where they are, I mean, it's a decently well kept field, and they have lights, they have a press box, and those players, they all know each other. It's not like it's a normal summer league team. They have a lot more of a brotherhood, if you will. But there's just no internet out there. Like, it's just a non-starter. We have some problems up in Cherry Hill as well. We were up covering, I can't remember where we were. We were at, that, and also we were at CHBR on Monday. We were having some issues. And we were in the parking lot of Cherry Hill Township, the municipal building. This one popped up. This one is over towards third base. And that one is taken in for out number 2. That play was made by Johnny Gardner, who moved from center field to third. So I see what they did. They did a little switcheroo. They moved Nace from third to the mound. They moved Gardner from center field to third, and then they moved Palumbo from the pitcher spot to center field. Which, again, with the Grizzlies being without Zach Morales tonight, who has been a longtime power hitter in the Tri-County circuits, definitely doesn't help that they don't have him in the order tonight, but they have most of their main guys. Here's the pitch. Popped up, right field side, headed towards Tom Brown Field, and out of play, onto the track. So a strikeout, pop out to third by DiPietro, and now Phil Sedalis, the batter. He's 1 for 2, led off the Senators stampede with a single, and then struck out in the second. That one is low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. To Sedalis. Rich Raccabaldo, who's 0 for 2 today, is on deck. 3-0 Senators. Here on the grounds of Washington Township High School. That one is low. Skipped away from Facchetti, but with the bases empty, no harm, no foul. Two-strike pitch, flied deep into left field. This one is way up there, going over, and it is caught to retire the side. For the first time today, the Senators are left off the board, and through 4 here in Sewell, it's still 3-0 Washington Township.
And Argabright with a full count. Outfielders in communication for the Quakers. Everyone's looking around in a tie game, bottom of the 6th. The 3-2 payoff. Ground ball. It's going to get over the head of Tolbert into left field. That's a base hit. 2-run score. Argabright delivers when asked. 5-3. Alex Argabright
has given the Golden Eagles a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning.
So after the holding call to be 1st and 20, as now rolling out to the right side, he's got a little bit of room to run on a QB rush. He's going to get a first down. There's no flags, and how about this for 61 yards? Anthony Gaetano with a QB rush that works to perfection. He hugs the sideline, and Anthony Gaetano gets the scoring started for the Red Hawks at 7-6.
Well, we were talking about Joey Rafino, and what do you know? If you say his name 3 times, it's just like Beetlejuice. He shows up. He pitches here in the top of the 5th inning. He's thrown 2 no-hitters this season and hasn't allowed a run in basically a month. This one's popped up and out of play. Johnny Gardner leads us off. Gardner and then Walsh. Strike called. Got 2 strikes against him. Now count is full. Grounded third baseline, foul. Off the bat of Gardner, count remains full. That's ball 4, so this time he ends up working it out, and Gardner will get a free pass. So now Chase Walsh will be the batter. And again, just another good situation for the Grizzlies. They kind of retroactively forced their predecessor out there, Carter Falsa, out of the game with all the walks that he allowed. I mean, it looked like he was getting a little bit shaky, but luckily there wasn't anything to write home about. Now Rafino comes in relief this time, kind of in an anywhere you need me situation. That one's outside. But this is not a good place for the Senators to fall behind, especially considering that you've got the top of the order with Templeton and Ryan Nace, now the pitcher, due up. And now you've got a 3-0 count. Templeton's on deck. He would be the tying run if both runners reach. But it's not like Rafino isn't used to this mound. This is where he comes from. This is his former high school mound. Oh, look at that. They're going to call a balk. His foot stepped towards home plate, and that is a textbook balk from the left-hander right there. He might have gotten down a second anyway, but Rafino commits a balk. I think there was a miscommunication there by Rafino, just making sure that they're all on the same page. But in that situation, the best way for a left-hander to initiate a pickoff move, a deceptive one, is to step towards the bag. You can be in your windup as a lefty, and then as you move close, put your foot that way. Because he moved his foot towards home plate, that's a textbook balk. Got a strike called, 3-1. And I know I'm showing a demonstration to Vincent and nobody else because the cameras aren't on me, but I mean, I feel like even for the casual baseball fans, that's a pretty understandable decision right there. We see a lot of balks where it's just a simple twitch or just a very subdued movement that oftentimes can be controversial depending on the situation. So, I mean, you know, as much as balks aren't something that you want to see, look at this. Here comes a throw back down to second. He is safe. Barely gets back in there as Templeton. He does take a strike, tried to lay one down, and almost got the law laid down that time with how close he was to the box. Fouled straight back. Oh, 0-2 to count to Templeton. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, that skips off of Gonzalez's mask. And it'll move both runners up. So right now this situation has gone from bad to worse for the Senators. Nobody out. 2 runners in scoring position, 2 walks, and just a general sort of distortion here between Gonzalez and Rafino. Again, Rafino, a very good pitcher. Don't get us wrong. He's thrown 2 no-hitters this year. Dribbler. He's going to try to hold the runner at third. Here comes Gardner. Smith is going to tag him out. Wait, no, he never tagged him out. Ooh, the umpire didn't see it. They're going to say that, well, now the Senators are going to come out of the dugout because Chris Smith is trying to say that, and now here comes John DiPietro. Let's listen in. The umpires are talking it over, and the problem is that where the umpire was standing, which is where he's supposed to stand in that situation, and when you only have 2 umpires, where Smith was, he was chasing down Gardner. Unfortunately, that's not permissible. They can't use the video as umpire evidence. But John DiPietro is going to at least get the best case that he can. It puts the Grizzlies on the board, and it's 3-1. But that's the part where it gets complicated, is because where the umpire is standing, Smith, almost the entirety of Chris Smith is obstructed from his view. So it's hard to tell unless you hear something auditory, like a slap of the glove or something like that. So it's very difficult. And now the Grizzlies, they trail, but they do get their first run. It's 3-1. The home plate umpire basically gives the ultimatum to John DiPietro to cut it out. Here's the first pitch from Rafino to the left-hander, Ryan Nace, and it's 1-0. Yeah, as much as... Yeah, home plate umpire just signaled to DiPietro again. I think the biggest thing to remember here is that I don't think anybody wants to push their luck. Step towards home again, but I think that one was a little bit less clear-cut. No balk called. But if it was called, it would have made it 3-2. I think they might have blown the top off this place. But no, in that situation, I mean, this is where having 2 umpires on a crew doesn't help. Because having a third there would definitely make that situation a lot better. But this is almost exemplary of what has gone wrong with the umpire shortage, as that one is low. I mean, obviously for a summer league game, outside of the playoffs, we don't need a third. But that's one of those situations where, again, it looked like Smith got him, but I couldn't tell for sure. And unfortunately, you cannot use video as a permissible evidence for influencing umpire calls. We kind of have to be third-party observers to the game, if you will, because that's come up before. I mean, it's one of the things that drives me up the wall about this business is when people turn to me and they say, "You got that? You got that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did, but listen, we have to play the game. We have to play the game the way it was intended, and I'm not gonna be a poking stick for something that people don't like. As much as I think the call probably wasn't the right call. If I was the one judging, that would probably be what I would have to say about it. But we're here to deliver the game, not to deliver turmoil. Foul down the third base line. How many times has it happened at Little League games too? We've covered 10U, 9U, 8U baseball, and I get parents all the time. "Did you get that? That was a terrible call." And I'm like, that's not my job. My job is to commentate the game and bring a positive viewing experience to those that can't be here tonight. We've got a good group of folks that are watching from home. That's ball 4. Bases are loaded. So Walsh gets to third, Templeton to second, and with a long at-bat with Ryan Nace, as much as the Senators wish they had one out, they still have none. So 3 walks for Rafino. Again, somebody who before today hadn't allowed a run in a month and had thrown 2 no-hitters this season with the Senators. Misses up and away to Palumbo. Rafino out of the 3-time JUCO National Champion RCSJ Roadrunners. However, because of the nature of that play, that should not be scored as an earned run, at least I think so. He's got 19 innings this year, 5 walks, 33 Ks. That's how little he had walked this year. He had 5 all year, and now he's walked 3 in this first inning of relief. Ground ball to third. Here comes the throw to the plate. They got him there. Throw back to first. No play. A little clip there between Walsh and the home plate umpire. It does keep the score at 3-1, but it moves everybody station to station on what's going to be scored as a 5-2 fielder's choice. Pretty clear cut that time, and now Spraggins, the cleanup man, is the batter, but a huge spot to retire Palumbo. I mean, the league's home run leader with the bases loaded. Definitely, even in a pitcher-friendly park, that's still a peel down to second says yes, and it's 0-1. Again, the thing that confuses me about all that is that this game doesn't have any repercussions for seeding. So with both of these teams having clinched the top 2 seeds, the worst thing that arguing a call like that is going to do is hurt yourselves. As much as I hate to say it, I would understand if this was a playoff game and that call happened. I would probably be upset as well, but it's the tail end of the regular season. Sometimes you just got to figure things out and let things go. Spraggins called time at the dish. He's got an 0-2 count, fouled off the first pitch that he saw, and he swings and misses. Big rebound by Rafino. 2 outs now. As Spraggins is retired, he's now 1 for 3, and that is, again, a huge K for Rafino. It's his 34th of the year. And now Nick Nigro, out of Widener, formerly of Paul Sixt, will be the batter with the bases loaded, 2 outs. 3-1 game. And if Nigro gets any RBIs, the haunting reality of that play from earlier in the inning will come back against the Senators. We'll have to see, though, if there's any repercussions or if this score stays 3-1 inside. And again, Rafino having a rare issue with the strike zone today, having 5 walks in his first 4 appearances across 19 innings and 2 no-hitters. along with a flat 0 ERA. Missed low that time. But now this has been almost an alter ego performance from Joey Rafino. 3 walks. He's allowed 1 run, although that wasn't really his fault. And there's a swing and a miss. 2-2 is the count to Nigro. Batter on deck will be Hunter Cohen if the inning continues, but a huge spot for the RCSJ Gloucester left-hander. 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Fastball upstairs, and a complicated inning ends with some fireworks and ends with a strikeout. The Grizzlies get a run back, and whether you like it or not, it's 3-1 going to the bottom of the 5th. Leading off the bottom of the 5th here for the Senators will be, it'll be, don't know why the name popped out of my head there, but it's going to be 0-1 count from Nace. So Rock Baldo with an 0-1 count. I don't know why I blanked on that for so long. Bottom of the 5th, it's 3-1. Grizzlies got a run back in the top half of the inning on a fielder's choice. So it would be Rafino's first earned run of the year. Rockabaldo smokes the ball out to right field. It is caught down the right field line. Good play slicing towards the corner by Joey Fichetti. And there's one away. As far as I'm checking game changers, no out-of-town scores to report on yet. I sometimes get lucky when the Grizzlies are playing, or the Senators, because then we can have some out-of-town score updates live before they get reported. But, I mean, the Pine Barrens didn't start until 7:30, about 20 minutes ago, and then all the other games, including Camden and Vineland at Landis Park, which I posted about it on Twitter today, about now I want to see a game at Landis Park because it's 270 to left field, 260 to right, and 380 to center. It's shaped almost like an egg. It's very odd. But Gonzalez with a swing and a miss. And it's an 0-2 count. This game being a lot more low scoring than the last time we saw either the Grizzlies or the Senators. Again, we have bookended this regular season with the Senators, leading them off versus the Pine Barrens on May 27th. With a final score of 11-3, Senators got up 8 runs in the first 3 innings in that game, and then the Pine Barrens slowly clawed back but couldn't get nearly enough. They got 2 runs in the top of the 6th inning. However, the game was called due to darkness. Those runs were considered null and invalid, and the final score was 11-3. We've been very lucky to not see a lot of blowout games this year. I mean, we've seen a couple in our first 2 seasons with Tri-County, but I think that we've been lucky to avoid that for the most part, mostly because we're kind of hand-picking the good matchups. That's why I'm very appreciative as Chris Smith goes down on strikes. Very appreciative of what Angelo Marciano and Bill Cohut have done in organizing this for us, because not only have we had a good amount of viewership for the Tri-County Summer League and have brought some attention to it as well, we're seeing a lot of good games. We saw 8 regular season games last year. This brings us to 6 because of all the rain. We saw Washington Township last year at a local community park in Williamstown. That one's a line drive, it's fair, and it's caught. Side retired. So an easy 5th for Ryan Nace, and the Grizzlies will look to continue to trick their way into some extra runs. They trail 3-1 after 5. Joey Rafino, after a rocky 5th, returns for the 6th. He gets a swing and a miss to start the frame with Hunter Cohen. It'll be Cohen, Fichetti, and Gardner, 6, 7, and 8 for the Grizzlies here in the top of the 6th. As, again, being one of 3 venues in the Tri-County League to not have lights. Tom Brown Field has lights just behind us, but it's not enough to illuminate the baseball field. And the Acme parking lot doesn't have enough lights to illuminate the field either. It's a swing and a miss. Oh, one away. Like I told you, Vince, I said I could have gone straight from this game to the gym, because that's right in the parking lot, the Planet Fitness in there. Oh, I can't go to the gym without headphones. It's unbearable. I can't do 20 floors on the Stairmaster, while listening to EDM remixes and of terrible songs. Got a swing and a miss, 0-2. 5 pitches, 5 strikes. Oh, missed it that time. 1-2. Rafino had 2 huge strikeouts after 3 walks in the 5th. Cohen went down on strikes for the 2nd time today to start the 6th. And again, Fichetti, who's 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. And you can make that 3. Huge breaking ball that zips back into the zone. That is the 4th consecutive strikeout against the Grizzlies for Joey Rafino, his 4th of this short-winded relief appearance. And now Johnny Gardner's the batter. Swing and a miss. Couldn't get that one that time. Swing and a miss there. Gardner 0 for 1. Strikeout and a walk to his name today. Missed. Walsh will be the batter on deck if the inning continues. Here's the pitch. Up and in. 2-2 the count from Rafino. He started out the inning with 5 straight strikes, but couldn't deliver afterwards. It's Carfagno, Gonzalez, and Scarpa. 5, 6, and 7. And there's strike 3. Beautiful breaking balls from Rafino. There's a reason why legendary head coach Rob Valley puts his trust in the Senators' left-hander, during the spring at least. Go to the bottom of the 6th. We still got time for another inning. If they play quick, we'll be able to get a full 7 in here in Sewell. We'll be right back. We kick off the bottom of the 6th inning. The sun is still over the horizon, and considering that it's a mostly sunny day, it allows us to play for a little bit longer. I can't remember exactly. I think when we were here versus the Pine Barrens on the 27th on opening night, I think it was still a sunny day. But what happened when we saw the Grizzlies versus the Rough Riders? It was an overcast day, and it was an overcast day with rain, so the clouds were not only there, but it was darker than usual. And I remember that game ended right around 8:05 p.m. It's 8:03 right now, and these guys are still good. Oh, good catch at third. Templeton brings one down for the first out in the bottom of the 6th. A laser that time. So now here's Julian Gonzalez. Takes a looping curveball from Nace. And there's a chance we get all 7 in. But they'll have to start moving a little bit quicker. But this is what I like about covering this kind of baseball. There's no pitch clock. I was in, I know I was talking about my St. Louis, Kansas City trip earlier, but I have a little bit of a nerd stat sheet that tracks every single Major League game that I go to, and basic things like the time of the game, the final score, attendance, the weather, that kind of thing. Well, the last game that I saw in St. Louis and the first game that I saw in Kansas City were all under 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is very short for a 9-inning game. It almost feels like it's being rushed. And I completely agree, as that's ball 4 to Gonzalez with Scarpa coming up. I agree with the sentiment that 4-hour baseball games are boring. Nobody wants to see the batter step out of the box and pick his nose every other pitch. I agree. But what I don't agree with is we're now switching the pendulum so far to the other side that baseball just feels too rushed. It was a game that was invented to be slowly enjoyed. Scarpa, first pitch, is a strike. The outside corner, 0-1. So yeah, do I think the baseball games did get too long? But that's because people had taken advantage of the system. I think that with some slight adjustments to the pitch clock, you can still create a system that's advantageous for fans without making it a nightmare for players and for fans like us that, really enjoy the slow nature of baseball. But yeah, the last game that we saw in St. Louis was between the Cubs and Cardinals, which is an old fabled classic rivalry. It's right up there with the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Dodgers versus the Giants. But it was only 2 hours and 10 minutes. I remember I left my seat to go get some dessert in the 6th inning. I had missed an entire inning waiting in line. In Kansas City, I missed 2 innings waiting in line. I almost stepped out of line because I waited so long. And that's the problem, is that baseball in general is trying to create 2 different viewing experiences, and the one that they are sticking with is tailored for TV. It's a lot easier when a baseball game can fit in a 2.5-hour time frame instead of a 4-hour time frame. You can schedule a lot more pregame shows and postgame shows after that as Scarpa swings and misses. But if you're attending a baseball game in person and you have a 9-inning game that, as I said when I was in St. Louis, was 2 hours and 10 minutes, you're really missing out on the point of baseball. And like right now, game started at 6:10. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning, and we're about to hit 2 hours. We're at 1:57 right now. That's pretty tolerable. I always said before the pitch clock came in that a game under 3 hours was pretty tolerable. I saw some 3.5-hour, 4-hour games, back before COVID that were pretty long. They would make you squirm in your seat a little bit. But the problem is that we are now trying to tailor too much to TV instead of tailoring to the fans in attendance who actually want to see a fully fleshed out baseball game. That one's outside. I don't know. Called a strike to Sharkey. My bad. Counts 1-1 with 2 away. So Scarpa, the runner on first with 1 away. That one is hit out towards center field. Palumbo slides. He can't get there. He bobbles it, but he's able to corral it in easily enough and early enough to hold Sharkey to a single. So Scarpa, 2 for 3. Honestly, it's hard to tell who would be the player of the game for the Senators. And I'm not saying that because there hasn't really been anybody that's shown out, but here's a fly ball out to left field. This one is out towards the corner. Diving, can't make the play. Laying out full extension was Cohen. But he ends up holding back on it, and it's 0-1 to Alex DiPietro. DiPietro 0 for 1, a pop out to third, and a strikeout, or rather a walk. But back-to-back singles for the Senators as they look for very crucial insurance, assuming that this may be the last inning they play. I'm not sure. Again, just looking over, the sun is just above the horizon at third. The runner moves out to third, and he is safe. So runners on the corners now. Sharkey stays put at first. So Grizzlies looking to set up a double play ball. I mean, Sharkey, I'll just say to be kind, he's not quite Ricky Henderson. So a double play ball could be trouble for the Senators. Nace nods and delivers. That's into dirt. But again, what I was saying about the Senators is that they've scored 3 runs, and none of them have been on hits. First run came on a ground out in the first inning. Second came on a wild pitch. Third came on a throwing error. And I can't really give the player of the game to Carter Falsa because he struggled. Can't really give the player of the game to Joey Rafino because he struggled. Here's a ground ball. Runner's going to break for home. Sharkey, did they say he's out at second? Yes. The run will score because the runner was in there before he was out at first, but the batter didn't even run out. He just stopped before going to first. That is all the insurance they can muster up. We will see if they have enough time for a 7th. It's 4-1 Senators. That ball's lined into left field. On the first pitch of the 7th, it's caught. 1 away. Well, they were talking about getting this game in fair and square and not having to worry about darkness. They might just get it. The first pitch is a line out off the bat of Walsh. And now Templeton is the batter versus Joey Rafino. Popped up. Rafino went for it, but he defers, and that's out number 2. Might be setting a record here. Yeah, 2 pitches, 2 outs. Now it's Nace. Are they just swinging at everything so they can go home? Because this game doesn't matter. As much as I hate to say it, mathematically, this game does not matter. This game will just be win number 15 for the Senators. They'll end the regular season with a 15-1-2 record. They'll have the lowest amount of losses in a regular season since the Gartons went 17-1 in the 2023 regular season. Strike is called 1-1. The Grizzlies would fall to 9-6-2, and they have already locked up the 2 seed for the playoffs next week. We, at the moment, weather permitting, will be covering 3 play-in games. So that is any teams not the Grizzlies or the Senators. The official playoff brackets will come out this weekend. But the 1-2 from Rafino is down low 2-2. But either way, we're going to cover 3 play-in games. 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, and 1 on Thursday. Because I am busy the upcoming weekend. Here's the pitch. Strike 3 call. That's the ball game. Joey Rafino with a strong relief outing, and he holds the Grizzlies at bay. The only run that the Grizzlies scored was a controversial one, and a much-needed insurance run in the bottom of the 6th inning seals the deal as the Senators pick up their 15th win of the season, and they will finish the regular season with a 15-1-2 record. Joey Rafino picks up a 3-inning relief performance, picking up where Carter Falsa left off for Washington Township. So both of these teams may be seeing each other again. These two teams are the top two in the Tri-County divisions. The Grizzlies locked up to the north, the Senators locked up the south. So all things considered, if there's no upsets, we'll be seeing these two at Alcyon Park in August. However, they have to get through the playoffs first to do that. That's a wrap on the Tri-County regular season here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We're glad you were with us for the time being because it was an excellent regular season indeed, even with all of the torrential rain that we saw in the last couple of weeks and months. So the Senators, they do not beat the rain, but they do beat the sun. And they win this one 4-1 here in Washington Township. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso. My producer coming here on short notice. Shout out to Vincent Folk. He's going to be working with us tomorrow. Also wanted to say big thanks to him or big congratulations to him. He's starting his third full year. You've been here for 2 years now. No. You started out in July of 2023, just when you were graduating from Haddon Heights. So make sure you listen to him on Camden County Radio. He does an excellent sports talk show there with a very rapidly growing radio station over at Camden County College. But either way, I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you tomorrow all day and every day from West Hampton for the Breakthrough Soccer Showcase hosted by Northern Burlington. That'll be all. 4-1. Senators win it. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.